Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Anda sedang menonton Sudut Pandang secara langsung dari Studio Awani di Bukit Kewangan, Kuala Lumpur. Malam ini saya ingin berganjak daripada isu-isu politik dan sebagainya dan kembali kepada satu arena yang saya rasa penting dan memang sepatutnya ditinjau oleh rakyat Malaysia, terutamanya yang ingin menjadi usahawan, kerana ia adalah tentang laman sesawang 2.0 ataupun laman web 2.0. Jadi saya ingin meminta kebenaran untuk berbicara dalam bahasa Inggeris kerana saya ada seorang yang cukup penting dalam inovasi Malaysia menuju kepada satu kemunculan dalam laman internet baru ataupun teknologi baru ini, iaitu saudara Colin Wong. He is the chief executive of Sharein. Do I pronounce it right?
Yes, Sharein is correct. Right? Yes.
You are also the chief sharer. I'll go to what that means later on your website. But Colin has come up with this, I term it as a service, because we're going into a service-based economy, and this is a service based on the strength of Web 2.0. You know, I'm very old tech. Even my older than me boss, Suami Sulaiman, is more funky than me. He has Facebook, all this stuff. I used to copy, paste, put it in my email, and send important materials that I think should be shared across. But what Colin and his group of guys and girls have done in his company is that he has simplified all this. You just migrate it to your toolbar, just like some other applications that we know, and then from there you can share it through Facebook, Twitter, and emails.
That is
Am I
correct.
right so far?
Yes, that is
correct. Okay,
correct.
before we show you how that's done, it's very simple actually. I was not convinced, but I tried it at 6:30 and I managed to understand it by 6:35. So that's a great
That's a very
improvement.
good sign,
Yes.
yeah.
But okay, if I were to ask you what Sharein signify, I know I could ask what is Sharein and you can go into the whole gamut of things.
Sure.
But what does it signify and why is it so important to you, Sharein? Because I look at it as taking baby steps to answer this question that a lot of people in Malaysia have been asking: why can't the next Google or Gmail or whatever it is, YouTube, emerge from Malaysia, for example? Okay, in that light, can you give us the
Sure,
answer?
I can do that, yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at Sharein, the very basic premise of Sharein is the ability to share links, right? So you can take a link, let's say for example you have a video that you are watching and you really enjoyed that video and you want to share it with your friends and your family. So the first thing that you do is you grab the URL and you copy and paste it, put it into Outlook and then send it to your friends. 8 steps in total. Well, what we do is we compress that. So from 8 steps we push it down to 3 steps. If you're on Twitter, we cut it down to 2 clicks. If you're on Facebook, we cut it down to 2 clicks as well. Now that's the very basic premise of Sharein. However, you have to look beyond that, if you will.
Okay.
Imagine, if you will, Google 10 years ago, right? So people would say, what's the big deal about Google? You just go to the web page, you type something, you click send, and it sends you the results back. But the results is, from a ramification standpoint, is quite tremendous. If you look at links today in terms of how people are sharing links, you'll find that especially on Twitter, for example, you look through your Twitter stream, you'll find that at least 60% of the tweets that are coming in are all links, basically.
Okay.
Same thing on Facebook as well. You go to your Facebook account, you'll see a huge number of links. So the end result is people are sharing a lot of content. And what we're finding right now is a paradigm shift, if you will. If you look back in the early 2000 days in terms of how people are sharing links, or how people are sharing content, if you will, it's typically your MSN, your Yahoo, you go to a specific portal, you go into the portal, you click onto it, and all the content basically is owned by that one single publisher. And so the gatekeeper, if you will, the gatekeeper of content is basically the publishers.
Okay.
Fast forward a couple of years, then you have Google, right?
Yes.
So Google is worse than the gatekeeper. You go to Google, you search for everything that you're looking for. But now we're reaching a different paradigm, and the paradigm is the paradigm of noise, if you will. There's so much content that's available nowadays.
I can identify with that.
Yes,
okay.
and you just don't have time to look for things anymore. So what ends up happening is you're consuming content from what people are sharing to you, and that's the big paradigm shift. And so I'm less likely to read a piece of article or watch a piece of video if it was just presented on a website. However, if my best friend sent that information to me, I'll more than likely watch it. And so that's what Sharein aims to be. Sharein aims to be the infrastructure that basically helps people to share content. And at the end of the day, what that means is influence, and impact. And it's very important because influence and impact is what the Web 2.0 paradigm is all about. In the past, in the Web 1.0 world, it was all about publishers. In the Web 2.0 world, it's about users. Users sharing content with each other, users creating content and also consuming content. So that's what Sharein is.
I get it. However, I cannot claim to know Gates or Zuckerberg, but I might be able to claim that I know Colin Wong before it becomes a big company. So,
I hope so.
let's go into the details now. Can you show us?
Sure.
Maybe the PCR can take from there and they show the same screen that we're watching.
All right. So this is Mashable, and Mashable is one of the largest technology blocks on the face of Earth. Actually, they have a user base of about 2 million plus users, and so. This is an article that was actually done on Sharein by Mashable. And so when we launched about a month ago, they did an article about us, and that was really instrumental in us growing rapidly because a lot of users started to know about Sharein and so on and so forth. So let's say you're looking at this article and you're saying, you know, this is a really good article and I really like it, and I want to share it with my friends or my family or my boss, my colleagues, and so on and so forth. Well, what we do is, if you look at a link up here, and this is basically your favorites bar, if you will, I've created a link there called Share, basically. And so that's something that we do very easily. You can just drag and drop the link over there. And so what you do is you click on that, and that will then pull in our tool, if you will. Now this screen is a little bit too small, but on a typical regular screen you'll be able to see the full window. But what you're seeing in actual fact over here is 4 tabs. So you've got Twitter, you've got Facebook, email, and you can also bookmark and organize your links and so on and so forth. And so you'll see that what we do is we automatically grab the information for you. So you'll see that the status information over here is basically the title of the article. The URL is available over here. And what we do is, and this is a major issue with the internet, basically, whenever you're sharing links, typically the links or the web addresses are extremely long. You take that, you share it by email, it gets cut in between here and there, and the result is you're not able to view the link. Well, when we share it, what we do is we shorten and we simplify the link, and so it's a very short link, and because we grab all information for you, it's basically as simple as clicking the post button. So in this case, I'll click post, it'll then send that to Twitter, and basically that's it. So if I go to Twitter over here and I do a refresh, you'll see that there's a new link that just appeared, Colin Wong sharing link with sophisticated, and you'll see that we shortened the URL as well. In this case, it's tr.my.2hb. tr.my being significant because .my is obviously the Malaysian domain name.
I have to go for the first commercial break. I hope the people at home can understand now a bit more. But one of my crusade here on Sudut Pandang is to spur more people to go into entrepreneurship and also Web 2.0. So I'm going to marry both questions here in the next segment. Let's talk about business and money after this. Because if 60% is about sharing, you know, and you have Sharein as in the service, so how many percent are you targeting, and how does that translate into the amount of money, for example?
We're going for a lot of
Show me the money after this, after the short break.